for the hand jobs. Mornings with Mo.
Good morning, everyone. It is the 19th of May, which means youngest Most Feral's birthday is 2 days away. Well, and that is, along with graduation and everything else this week. So I hope everyone else is having a fun-filled week like I am, and possibly, trying to get all the ends and, strings tied. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing all of your modly mod duty. Welcome, Tammy and 80s Music Man, Granny Smith, and let's see, JKD Buck, Christine, and Out and About with Diane. Yeah, and I forgot how many things need to get done. Mr. Mo is taking point on a lot of these because my time date awareness is bad. So when people ask me where things are, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to tell you the wrong thing. Well, we have a lot of news, and the first news is sad. I don't normally get political on here, but this is a bipartisan sort of article. And it does seem that former President Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. Not today. The Bev wig is not as comfortable as my other wig that's in storage. So I don't like it as much. Both Democrats and Republicans alike are offering their prayers for former President Joe Biden and his family on this Sunday in the wake of his cancer diagnosis announcement. Even the fairest of political rivals have come out to show support for the ex-commander-in-chief after a spokesperson for Biden, who is 82 years old, was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer following an exam in which doctors found a small but concerning nodule on his prostate earlier this month. Even Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who infamously shouted liar at then President Biden during a 2023 State of the Union speech, offered a heartfelt note to the Democrat. I'm sorry to hear this news. Cancer is truly awful. Representative Greene wrote on X, my dad passed away in 2021 with cancer. Prayers for Joe Biden and his family. You also have the tender sentiment swept across the political aisle on Sunday as politicians from both sides expressed their grief and offered up their support to the former president, who is the oldest ever to have held office. Even President Trump, who has described his political opponent as a sleepy, crooked guy, delivered a solemn but hopeful message to President Biden. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. So, again, look, I hope that they can find a way to help this cancer. It does seem like it is at one of the higher levels, and, you know, I'm not a doctorologist. It doesn't look good. He's 82 with other comorbidities, along with, brain trauma from, I think, a fall. So I do hope that they can find a way to take care of him. Hopefully, the treatments aren't as bad as the cure, because I don't know how much his body can handle. And, regardless of what I feel about him as a politician, no person deserves to die in pain and have all of the grossness that cancer brings into their life. So I do hope that he is getting the very best care and they are making him comfortable and can possibly take this out, or at least give him more quality time with his family. That being said, on to the real news. A UFO struck a fighter jet, and it's among a swarm of mystery objects that have been spotted near the U.S. military sites in Arizona. Well, I mean, this makes me feel all comfortable. Please tell me how this is swamp gas, because the next thing that comes out is you never saw what you saw, like circa TWA 800 flight kind of level black, men in black suits telling you you didn't see what you thought you saw. A UFO that struck and damaged a U.S. fighter jet is just one of many that swarmed and buzzed around Air Force training ranges in Arizona, according to multiple reports. One of the unidentified flying objects hit the clear bubble canopy over the head of a pilot in a $63 million F-16 Viper jet in January 2023, damaging it and temporarily grounding the plane, according to Federal Aviation Administration documents first reported by the War Zone. Now, the military jet was struck midair by an orange and white UAS, or unscrewed aerial system, the FAA document said, a term that refers to drones. Now, 3 more UAS encounters were flagged a day later. What I can tell you is that there's been a lot of activity and a lot of people reporting things out of Arizona, and particularly on the border with Mexico. Former Pentagon investigator Luis Elizondo told News Nation this month. Now, the FAA told the Post in a statement that the agency documents unidentified aerial phenomena sightings whenever pilots report something to air traffic control. If supporting information such as radar data corroborates the report, the FAA shares the information with the UAP task force. The Department of Defense All-Domain Abnormality Resolution Office serves as a centralized clearinghouse for UAP reporting impacting national security or safety. Well, I'm glad we have a whole department to find, hostile ETs and rogue drones. You think we should have had one for a long time. Now, the government filed 757 of these reports between May 2023 and June 2024, 708 of which took place in the air, with only 49 marked as case closed in the last report, issued by the Anomaly Resolution Office. Now, the small unidentified objects spotted in Arizona are known to fly in groups of 8 or higher and are sometimes characterized as drones, according to the War Zone, which noted incidents took place at high altitudes or near military or combat training sites since at least January 2020. Now, drones and other flying objects, such as Chinese spy balloons in 2023, are clearly being passed through multiple U.S. military reporting streams. And thank you, Greedy Bloke, for hanging out for as long as you can. And Chip, either you're going to a fish and chip place or it's golf. Either way, I'd be happy, though. I'd be happier at the fish and chip place with tons of vinegar. Now, some U.S. officials, including Ron Vieto, a senior advisor for U.S. Customs and Border Protections, hypothesizes that these mysterious flying objects could be drones used by foreign cartels for spying or smuggling drugs. Now, the cartels have used the technology, which is difficult to track, to move up to 10 kilograms of drugs at a time. Now, he did tell News Nation Prime earlier this month that unlimited funding from cartels could explain the impressive cutting-edge technology that has never been seen before. Snooker. That's like pool, but different, right? Many things are like pool, but different, right? I love that my entire lack of sports knowledge-itude is like, that's like billiards, but different. So there you go. It could be aliens or it could be the ghost of Pablo Escobar. Who knows? But it looks like Arizona is in the path of dronosity. So keep your eyes peeled. Holy crap, I got one right. I'm a regular sportsologist over here. Well, I mean, I can tell you that Baby Shark on repeat would ward me off. A Los Angeles business owner has been blasting Baby Shark on repeat to ward off homeless encampments. I mean, can confirm that around the clock hearing of Baby Shark can test your mental facilities. How do I know? I had 6 children and some of them came up during the Baby Shark craze. A Los Angeles business owner has found a novel way to keep homeless people from camping near his building, playing a children's song on an annoying loop. They play Baby Shark all night long. Tracy, a woman who lives in an encampment next door to the building at the corner of 11th West 11th and Main Street told NBC4 Los Angeles. They're doing everything they can to drive us more and more crazy, but it's doing the latter. It's driving people crazy. The building's owners began to play the song through a loudspeaker pointed directly at the encampment, which Tracy told the outlet kept her and others up all night. This is ridiculous. We can't get any sleep. We can't get housing. We can't eat. And now they're trying to drive us crazy with children's music. Now, Shalom Styles, who owns the barbershop Styles Barber Lounge around the corner from the business playing Baby Shark, told the outlet that they're not trying to be mean or insensitive to the homeless, but have businesses to run and are just trying to survive. It's not like, about being kind because when people are taking away from the business and all the stores are going out of business, Styles said, we're just here trying to survive, trying to put up for our family. Yeah, I mean, I probably would rather not go to a barber shop with homeless people. And if you incentivize homeless people by not taking them to get where they can go and get help, or, keeping them off the street and actually making it so that they have to go and receive help, it's a double-edged sword. Businesses don't want this around. Customers don't want to have to walk through this, especially with, let's be real, some of the very severe mental health issues that some of these people have, making them very dangerous and violent. Not every homeless person, but enough that it is, hey, I'd rather not go to the business that is surrounded by homeless people. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom received or released details last week about his multi-billion-dollar plan to tackle homelessness in the Golden State and pushing cities and counties to take immediate action. On Monday, Newsom shared a model ordinance for cities and counties to immediately address dangerous and unhealthy encampments and connect people experiencing homelessness with shelter and services. There's nothing compassionate about letting people pass away on the streets, Newsom said in a news release. Now, the ordinance is backed in part by a $3.3 billion new Prop 1 funding, Newsom's office announced, adding that the governor is calling in all local governments to act without delay. Now, this is a problem in particular for Newsom. Now, as a nerd who when he was, elected as the mayor of San Francisco, he had this same plan. He said he would crush homelessness, he could get it done. And years later, he's now coming out with new plan 2.0 with more mega bucks. The sad thing is there is a cottage industry of grifting, semi, linked to the government NGOs that basically encourage homelessness, and if they really solved the problem, they'd be out of work, so they don't do anything to actually do anything about it. That being said, Baby Shark would keep my ass away from the business, not gonna lie. Newsom is always also encouraging local leaders to use their authority, affirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court, to address homeless encampments. The governor is calling on every local government to adopt and implement local policies without delay. Now, Newsom's office told Fox News Digital that the governor has actively held communities accountable who do not follow state law to address homelessness, sharing an example of when the state sued the city of Norwalk in 2024 for its unlawful ban on homeless shelters. The governor's office added that while the national homelessness went up around 7% last year, California's increase was only 0.45 and lower than most of the other 44 states. I need you to check your math again, because that doesn't sound right. That being said, that's what the government's saying. Again, I do think we need to think about creating communities for mental health. They We can bring back hospitals that are state funded for people that obviously struggle with their mental health without them becoming one flew over the cuckoo's nest. We could have functional facilities where people who just cannot, manage the everyday of managing their lives, could have a place to live that where they were supervised. But that would be, just crazy talk. And who am I to bring up, actual thoughts that could help people? Well, New Orleans has said we're totally severely gonna get these these 7 jail escapees that are still on the large. New Orleans authorities are confident that they'll capture or recapture 7 jail inmates that are still at large. Now, I did do a Newsy News nugget on this. It seems like they had some outside help because they escaped through a bathroom or a window behind the toilet, and basically all of the outer casing that hides that window would have to be unscrewed from the backside or a maintenance wall. So I'm guessing if you're a maintenance person in this prison, you are being heavily questioned right now. Authorities in New Orleans are expressing confidence that they will apprehend the remaining 7 of 10 escaped inmates on the loose as they increase the reward for information on the whereabouts of these fugitives. We're confident at this time that we have actionable intelligence on all 7 of the fugitives, and we hope in the coming day, if not hour, that we will have them all apprehended. Louisiana State Police Superintendent Colonel Robert Hodges told reporters in Sunday's press conference. Now, the 10 detainees escaped prison custody at Orleans Parish Jail early Friday, sparking a manhunt that has so far led to the recapture of at least 3 of them. Now, a reward was offered for information resulting in any of their arrests, which was increased to $20,000 Sunday, with the FBI doubling its reward to $10,000 per inmate, while both the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms uh, each increased their rewards to $5,000 an inmate. Well, I mean, I'm not saying nothing, but I got 6 kids to put in college, so who wants to join me in New Orleans? That's all I got to say. We need the public's help and we can't do it alone, Hodges said. More importantly, if you're helping or assisting these fugitives, allowing them to remain uncaptured and not brought to justice, there will be consequences and you might be charged. Yes, I don't know who needs to see this public service announcement, but it's called aiding and abetting a felon. So, yeah, don't do that if you want to stay out of prison orange yourself. Now, he emphasized that the recapture of these inmates occurred within the first 24 hours of their escape due to help from the public. Decan Davis, 24, Kendall Miles, 23, and a 15-year-old male have all been relocated to another Louisiana state facility for their safety and the safety of others. Now, the 7 inmates who remain at large have been identified as Corey Bond, 19, Derek Groves, 27, Jermaine Donald, 42, Lenton Van Buren, 26, Anthony Massey, 32, Leo Tate, 31, and Gary Price, 21. These are violent criminals and they escaped and they have consequences for their actions, Hodges said. Now, why do we have the same picture? So this is Decan Dennis, and he was captured. Now, FBI New Orleans Special Agent in Charge Jonathan Tapp told reporters that they strongly believe that the inmates are receiving help to evade capture. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office said that jail officials discovered the breakout at around 8:30 a.m. local time Friday during a routine head count. It was learned that the detainees were able to exit Thursday night due to defective locks and doors. They broke through a locked cell door at around 12:23 a.m. Friday before breaching a wall behind a toilet in their housing unit and exiting the jail through a door at about 1 a.m., then scaling a wall and fleeing across the interstate. 3 staff members have been suspended without pay amid an internal investigation into the facility's operations and supervision practices in connection to the escape. More than 200 officers with local, state, and federal enforcement agencies are now participating in the manhunt. So, and why was the 15-year-old in with, I mean, I guess he must have done something really bad for him to have been charged or placed in adult prison. Because I think even if you're charged as an adult, until you get to be 18, you do stay in the juvenile detention facility. At least I think that's how it works in Indiana, but I am not a lawyer. I am not on top of things, so I could be completely wrong. That being said, I hope they get these people off the street. And as much as I joke, do not try to apprehend this person on your own. Do not try to do a citizen's arrest. Do not try to do, you are right, Vince. I'm always wrong. Jail and prison are not the same thing. I always mix those up. That being said, do not try to confront any of these people on your own. Call your local law enforcement. Do not try to be a hero. We need no more Eddies passing away and Stranger Things. Let, the police and every other person who is trained be a hero. Well, I mean, I guess it's a runaway bride trial run, or is it more of you if you build it, he will come? A New York City singleton runs the Brooklyn Half Marathon wearing a wedding dress while on the hunt for a husband. I don't know, he might be at, the finish line. Okay, well, I mean, so it is kind of like a field of dreams. If you build it, he will come. Don't call her a runaway bride. Sorry, already did. An entrant in Saturday's Brooklyn Half Marathon was seen running in a wedding gown, but she wasn't bolting from the altar a la Julia Roberts' character in the 1999 rom com. Conversely, Tess Tregallis was on the hunt for a man to say I do. My husband could be at the finish line, the 28-year-old Brooklynite blushed in a video captured before the event began. All I'm thinking is that has to be uncomfy as hell, and them little boob things at the top just, like, twist in as you're ru look, husband or no, I am not wearing something that damn uncomfortable if I'm gonna have to run. I mean, that's all I got to say about that. Now, she did tell the Post that after the race, she didn't happen upon any hubby while she was wearing white, saying that the stunt might have spooked suitors. You think? You think running in a wedding dress when you're not even married and you have a placard that says "still single" on the back, or I'm sorry, just hopeful, you think that guys might look at that and say, "You know what? Hard pass, hard pass." No proposals from any man. Honestly, I think I scared men away, she quipped, but women love it, and that's what it's really for, to encourage women that you can be a bride any day of your life. No, quite literally, you cannot be a bride just because you put on a dress. Again, that means that if I put on an inflatable T-Rex outfit, I become, an extra in Jurassic Park. This cannot this is not the same thing. That's like those chicks who dress up as mermaids do not suddenly become aquatic. This logic does not apply. This is why I cannot watch movies. None of this actually logics out. Meanwhile, Tregellis, who is a comedian, did manage to bring a whole lot of love to the half marathon. I had a sign on my butt that said just hopeful to play on the just married trope on the back of a car after a wedding. A lot of people asked to take my picture, which I just loved because I felt like a celebrity. And it also opens up a lot of conversation, and you get to know the people who are running alongside you. Okay, who is able to talk while they're running? I mean, honest to goodness gracious, who is able to talk and hold on a daggone conversation when they're running? Like, that's a no for me. And if I'm speaking, it is, freaking curse words like, "Damn it, didn't know there was gonna be an effing hill. What the hell is this town just full of effing hills?" I mean, yeah, no. It's just no way. Now, Tregellis's time was 2 hours, 33 minutes, and 44 seconds, but she wasn't watching the clock during Saturday's half marathon. I was really just doing it for the vibes. Yeah, hashtag something Mo will never do, running for vibes. Now, running from vibrating zombies, yes. Running from, you know, venereal disease, yes. I'm trying to think of other things that I would be running on away from that are V's. Well, Velveeta's. Just no. Indeed, this isn't the first time that the comedian who has run the Brooklyn Half Marathon did it in a gown. She pulled off the exact same stunt last year, sharing snaps with her 200 and 2000 no 200,000 Instagram followers. Okay, well then this isn't even new to you. I'm done. Well, I was trying to think of something with a V, and then I realized that Velveeta is not a fear that many people share. Look, It's just a huge block of wiggly cheese. I don't like American cheese as on a whole to begin with, but so just a huge gelatinous box of, like, orange, not natural cheese, it just creeps me out, and texturally, it feels weird. Look, I know not everyone is scared of Velveeta, but I am. I'm a comedian. I started doing this wedding dress bit about 2 years ago when I ran Manhattan's West Side Highway in a wedding dress chasing the shirtless hot men running. No dates, but I got a lot of laugh, and as a comedian, that's the goal. It's just always so much fun. Next month, she is going to be taking the stage to discuss her dating misadventures in a show titled Epic that will be held at the Slipper Room on Manhattan's Lower East Side. It's about a hopeless romantic looking for something epic in a world of casual dating. Dating can be so tough in New York, especially as a comedian. I was trying to be whatever I thought my dates wanted me to be, and a lot of people are just looking for something casual, but I wanted something that was epic. Well, there you go. Now, the part of the show that we all love, gird your loins because Lord Chippy has new contestants. As always, justice is a journey, and at the end, Lord Chippy awaits.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Now, as always with these, I must take the pen of power and excommunicate some people from, well, the respectable mother slash wife, thing. So, ma'am, you are hereby excommunicated from all mother title, recognition, everything. You are now just a female incubator. Just ew. I sacrificed my children. A mom forced her kids to live in squalor, sleep on pizza boxes so she could enjoy a kid-free life with nail and hair appointments. You know, every time I think I'm gonna be shocked, it's just shocked. More shocketh. Like, every time I think my house is a mess, I come across one of these articles and I'm like, how? How? I feel like I would need a full-on outbreak suit plus, like, napalm made from Lysol and bleach at the same time. No, this house just needs to be burnt down, if you want my professional opinion. 3 Michigan children lived in squalor inside a poo-filled home where 2 of the girls slept on pizza boxes after their mother allegedly abandoned them for years. Yes, that's right, chat, you heard that right. Years. But when the mom showed up to a police interview, she had her hair done, wore clean clothes along with fake nails, the detective testified Friday at a preliminary hearing. Now, according to courtroom reports from Detroit NBC affiliate WDIV and ABC affiliate WXYZ, Oakland County Sheriff's Deputy John Brish recounted his interview with the mom, 34-year-old Kelly Bryant. Now, Brish testified that he was surprised by Bryant's appearance and demeanor, she allegedly admitting to putting herself before her children, a 15-year-old boy and 2 girls aged 12 and 13. I hurt my children, Brish said Brandt told him. I sacrificed my children, probably. Brandt also allegedly asked detective if there was anything I could do to help myself. So basically, how can I get my charges lowered? Just won't somebody think of me? Yes, you've only thought about yourself, ma'am. That's the problem. No one else has the emotional fortitude to deal with whatever the hell you're going through because we're too busy focused on your children, which is, as a parent, you should be focused on. But the miscommunication is apparently you're just an incredibly deeply selfish person who should not have ever been given the blessing of children, if you ask my general opinion. Now, in addition, prosecutors reportedly noted that when they extracted data from Bryant's phone, her children were listed in her contacts not by their names, but by my oldest, kid one, and kid two. Oh, hell no. Put her in the fiery depths of the sun. I'm done with this chick. Now, her children had her listed as world's greatest mom or something along those lines. Cops rescued the children after a welfare check in February. She knew that her actions were selfish. That's her wording, and that's it made her children sick, and she ultimately sacrificed her children for her own purposes. Now, deputies described the awful condition in which the children lived. The first deputy on scene entered the home to find poo, trash, and cobwebs all over. The boy came out and had a hard time walking because his toenails were so long. The other two girls came out of another room holding hands and hunched over. Brish testified, I've never smelled a home that smelled as bad as that house did without a decomposing body present. Now, Brian's attorney argued that the children didn't appear to be suffered from mental harm. What? What? Like, I get that you're supposed to vigorously help your client, but what? He could barely walk because his toenails were so long, which is like one of my human nightmares. But they did okay with intelligence tests, so you think nothing is wrong. Because they seem to be intelligent and articulate in investigation interviews. The judge, Cynthia Thomas Walker, believed prosecutors presented enough evidence to bound the case over for trial on CA and welfare fraud charges. There is no question that this is an extraordinary case, she reportedly said. Now, as Law and Crime previously reported, the landlord of the home on Lydia Lane in Pontiac, which is about 25 miles northwest of Detroit, had contacted Oakland County Sheriff's Office on February 14th to complete a welfare check because he hadn't heard from Bryant since December and hadn't received a rent check since October. What deputies found in the home was a case of abandonment, neglect, and abuse of the highest order, Sheriff Mike Bouchard said. Now, the boy allegedly told deputies that he and his sisters have lived alone since 2020 or 2021. Now, according to police, the garbage was stacked as high as 4 feet. There was human waste throughout the home and filled in a bathtub. The toilet was overflowing, and there was mold everywhere. The children had not been to school since their abandonment and spent their days watching TV or playing video games, according to the cops. Now, while Bryant had contact with her son, she hadn't seen her girl children for several years. Now, the boys slept on a mattress while the girls slept on pizza boxes. Each week, their mother or a stranger would bring prepared food and drop it off on the porch. Neighbors told police while they saw the mother dropping off food, they did not know that children lived there. The kids were taken to the hospital for evaluation. Their clothes were soiled, their hair was matted, and they had difficulty walking because their toenails were each several inches long. Cops noted that the kids had lacked even basic hygiene skills. So again, this is terrible, just awful, and I hope that everyone in Gen Pop knows exactly how this heifer's been living and how her kids have been living. Like, just gross. And I hope you hear all these terror stories about, going from the frying pan of your parents' home to the absolute hell that is foster care. I hope someone in the family is able to step up and give these kids a good life, give them the skills that they have obviously been neglected on. Just absolute grossness. Just ew, ma'am, ew. Well, I mean, you do what you do. King of this castle, doctor who strangled wife over fears that she was stealing his money learns his fate. Yeah, if you admit and you did it and we can prove it, I don't think you're getting away with it, sir. Oh, but it is from Massachusetts, so maybe he will. A prominent Massachusetts doctor received his fate Friday after a jury convicted him in the strangulation death of his wife. Dr. Ingolf Harry Turek, 63, was sentenced between 12 and 16 years in prison, with credit for time served in the death of his wife, Kathleen McLean, at their home in Dover. Now, a jury found Turek guilty of the lesser count of voluntary manslaughter instead of first-degree murder in April. Now, McLean's sister called her vibrant. She always had a smile, she was always calm, and she had more patience than anyone I know, Beth Melson told the court. The victim's daughter, now 21, was home at the time of the incident. 5 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night when I looked down the stairs and saw Harry Turek. I instantly knew something bad had happened. We made eye contact, and since then, I've been filled with a whole new level of fear that I didn't know was quite possible. Prosecutors argued that the killing was premeditated because the doctor felt as though his wife was going to take his house and money in a divorce. Turek took time on the stand for his own defense in the trial. I didn't like to cause the death of another human being, he testified. I spent all of my life to save lives, so I pretty much was in shock myself of what had happened. At the sentencing, a tearful Turek apologized for his actions. As Law & Crime previously reported, and thank you, Super T, for being a member for 2 months. With your brand new shiny hip, awesome sauce. I hope that's working well for you and you get to go out and do all the things that were causing you pain before. My mother-in-law had a knee and had both of her knees done, and doggone it, she was like, I want to go out and do this and do this and do this. So hopefully you get a new lease on life and get to go out and do all the fun things that you've been saving because everything hurts. Now, Turk claimed that he and the victim had started arguing while drinking, that McClellan hit Turk with an object and Turk strangled her until she passed out, only after the fact realizing that she had passed away and not passed out, where he then took her body out to a pond, as you do, filled her body down with rocks, and, proceeded to say, like, I don't know what happened. Where'd she go? The death followed a series of DV claims against the defendant. Police reports describe allegations in which Turk repeatedly laid hands on and threatened McLean. For example, he allegedly threw her to the ground so hard in January 2020 that her shoes were knocked off. In December 2019, he allegedly slammed her head into the headboard and covered her nose and mouth while having his hand around her throat. Another incident involved Turk grabbing scissors. Authorities said he told his wife he was the king of this castle, and she was allegedly just a guess, then cut off a piece of her hair. This resulted in her hand getting cut when she tried to stop him. McLean ended up asking to clear a restraining order against her husband and didn't want him prosecuted. Ladies, don't do this. Look, I get when you are in a very, very dangerous, scary relationship, leaving can be the scariest thing. And you don't want people to know your struggles. It feels shameful to admit you've been in this type of marriage for so long. And usually you're so beat down with all the verbal things that go along with it. But please, if you can, for your safety, for your life, quite literally, leave. Leave, leave. Get the heck out. Even just once. If that line gets crossed just once, that's a line that's been crossed. Now, she said that she had gotten rid of the restraining order for the sake of her family, according to a May 2nd court affidavit. She was unfortunately to die about 2 weeks later. Now, she was last seen on May 14th, 2020. Turek, a urologist, got in trouble in November 2019 over a billing dispute with the Massachusetts Medicaid program, and he was ordered by the state attorney general to repay $150,000 of overcharges or that kind of thing. So absolutely get out if you can. It is scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not going to be scary. I'm not going to sugarcoat that you're going to second guess and you're going to be terrified. But there is life after that. You will find yourself coming back to yourself. I know it sounds Lifetime movie, and I wouldn't tell you this if it didn't happen to me. So I can tell you that if you are in a bad relationship and you feel like there is nothing left of you, get out and it will come back. Slowly and surely. You're going to have scars. We all do, either mentally or physically. But you can live a full life, even with those. They'll just be quirks. and you'll have to explain things to people, but you will get yourself back, so don't stay with some douchebag who says he's the king of the castle. Now, these 2 absolute ass clowns, and normally I don't like to curse, but these 2 absolute butt monkeys from the pits of hell wanted a boy. A girl dad who unalived his pregnant wife and stabbed his daughters, both 6 and 9, in a Labor Day rampage learns his fate. Well, if it's not being thrown off a very long or a very short pier into a vat of hot sauce with scorpions and piranhas in it, I don't know what his fate isn't bad enough. A father of a New York woman who was unalived by her husband when she was 9 months pregnant told the court that the defendant had committed the crime because he, quote, wanted a boy. Drew Gardner, 33, pled guilty in March to the murder of his wife, 29-year-old Samantha Gardner, who was pregnant with the couple's third daughter, when he stabbed her to death on September 4th, 2024. Now, Drew Gardner also stabbed his 2 young daughters, who were just 6 and 9 at the time, and pled guilty to 2 charges of assault. As previously reported by Law and Crime, New York State Police responded to a domestic dispute at the couple's home in Masonville, New York, 2 days after Labor Day. Drew Gardner surrendered to police at the scene and was treated for superficial wounds. No, I would have let them get infected with gangrene and botulism. Just no, I am all out of F's to give for this gentleman's, hurt little murder mittens. Hell no. Let them get infected. Let those fingers fall off. I don't give 2 craps. This is why I should never be a judge. Now, Samantha Gardner was airlifted to a nearby hospital. Unfortunately, the doctors could not do anything to save her. The 2 little girls were also treated for stab wounds and eventually recovered. In court on Thursday for Drew Gardner's sentencing, the father of Samantha Gardner addressed a possible motive for the murder of his daughter while reading his victim impact statement. Local CBS affiliate WBMG reported that the father believed that Drew Gardner was angry about the gender of the unborn child, telling the court he had wanted a boy. He went on to say that the couple's young daughters were traumatized by the horrific crime against their mother and added, "I'm their father now. I'll protect them." Fuck yeah, Grandpa. You know what? And if you ever need support, there are going to be a bunch of people. I will stand right there. I can be a crazy auntie, but those girls have a father now, and that's their grandpa. And bless him. Bless him for standing up. Bless him for looking at this incredible douchebag that stole his daughters and said, "You don't get that blessing. That's my blessing now. And those are my babies now." I'd have done the deuces too. But Pop, if you need help, you got a crazy auntie. I'm a redhead. I'm kind of weird, but I'm willing to stand for those girls. Drew Gardner requested the ability to contact his daughters that he admitted to stabbing while he served his sentence. Delaware County District Attorney Sean Smith objected and asked the court for no contact orders for as long as the law allowed. Judge John Hibbert agreed, but said the girls could ultimately choose to contact their father if they wanted to. Judge Hubbard issued a complete stay order for both the girls until the year 2056. Now, Drew Gardner reportedly refused to sign them. Well, I don't give 2 craps what Drew decides to sign or not. Like, my crap level of giving craps died when Drew decided he was so pissed off about having a boy that he decided to stab his wife and his 2 little girls. As far as I'm concerned, my tank is on E as in empty for F as in fucks. That being said, excuse my language. Per the terms of his plea agreement, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison plus 15 years of probation upon release. Now, I get it. Look, I thought my youngest, most feral was going to be a girl, and having had 2 feral boys, I was a little terrified of having 3 little feral boys. So 10 weeks into the pregnancy, when I found out he was going to be another little boy, did I have some gender disappointment? Yes. But has he turned out to be the loveliest, most feralist child that I could have ever asked for? Yes. So, yes, it's normal to have gender disappointments sometimes. And, moms who tell you they didn't have any, well, maybe that's true for them, but I did. So, but this is pretty damn ridiculous. And I am so daggone tired of these douche canoes, which is why I'm glad Lord Chippy exists. Next story, even more horrifying. This guy. Fitness influencer The Liver King has been exposed for lying about his, well, I don't know if it's grotesque, but it certainly doesn't float my boat. His raw animal diet and extreme workouts. I mean, yeah, this guy creeps me out mostly because ew, and I don't even pretend to know what the hell he's trying to eat there. A fitness influencer was exposed for lying to millions of his followers, claiming that he followed a very specific, very bizarre diet and lifting a crazy amount of weight in the gym. Brian Johnson, known for his barbarian like ways and caveman diet, which he claimed consisted of animal livers, testicles, fertilized chicken eggs, and outrageous workout routines, which included bench pressing hundreds of weights underwater. Johnson's extreme ways allowed him to create a name for himself online, the Liver King, with millions of people known as his primals obsessed with his every move. Like, were these people really buying it, or was it like a train wreck and you couldn't look away? Also, does this man have any shirts? Like, does he own a shirt? Just one? Like even a crop top? He claimed that he earned his Greek god physique following his insane diet and exercise regimen with just a few supplemental pills. Johnson also claimed that his two sons were in poor health before they switched to this organ based diet, which cured them, a claim that led people to regularly purchase his liver supplements. Like, were they made from his own liver? I mean, it turns out the father of two allegedly misled the public and, in fact, came out in 2022 thanks to leaked emails that he was actually spending about $11,000 a month on steroids. Steroids, you say? My shock. You can't imagine. Does the man own a pair of shorts that don't look like they came out of my 14-year-old's closet? And by 14-year-old, I mean girl. Now, reported by The Sun, Johnson supposedly created a $300 million empire for himself, which he led him to deny steroid use. Yet the truth finally caught up to him, and he had no choice to admit that he was using pharmacy grade human growth hormones. While one would assume that that would have been the end of the Liver King, Netflix just released a documentary on the 28-year-old titled Untold: The Liver King. Well, I mean, they got me with the Tiger King, so I might be there. I mean, I'm just saying. What is does she have a filter on, or is that how her face looks? And I don't mean that as a mean person. I mean, we have gotten to the day and age where I can't tell if that's a person's real face or a filter, y'all. Now, Johnson is certainly not the first and won't be the last fitness influencer to lie to gain a massive following. UK online fitness coach Hannah Berry revealed some truths behind public fitness personas. I used to be a really toxic fitness influencer, she said in a viral TikTok video. Now I'm just not so toxic, and I want to tell you some BS that goes on within the fitness industry that you probably don't know. I never did any of the ab workouts I actually did. They just got millions of views, so it's shitty to say, but it's also true. She also revealed that when people sign up for coaching with well-known online figures, they're usually just working out with shadow coaches who pretend to be the person that was hired. Now, I don't know, you know, who needs to be told that you're probably not talking to the real, like, Miss Cleo when you called the hotline. But yes, you're probably, talking to some rando fitness influencer or fitness coach who just got out of college. That being said, if you were shocked by that, I have a bridge to sell you. Well, it couldn't have happened to a kinder astronaut. Katy Perry will not be welcomed back in Vegas after a complete failure residency lost a luxury hotel money. I mean, who doesn't wanna watch the chick that sings, kissed a girl and I liked it, in her 40s gyrating to things that would make Madonna blush? I mean, who doesn't have that on their bucket list? Katy Perry is no longer wanted in Las Vegas after her 3-year residency at Resort World apparently bombed and actually lost the luxury hotel and casino money. The residency was a disaster for Resort World and a complete failure. I mean, it couldn't happen to a better weirdo. There was a bidding war between Resort World and Caesars technically lost out, but in the end, Caesars really won. Now, Perry, who has a net worth of 400 million, was earning a hefty sum from the residency dubbed Katy Perry Play, which ran from 2021 to 2023. Now, she was getting paid anywhere between $750,000 to $900,000 a show because of the bidding war, and the entire run she underperformed, and the resort actually lost money. So again, can't imagine why people don't want to see a aging, kind of pop on avant-garde sort of rocker when we now have just giant amount of weird people who do weird stuff, for fame. I mean, honestly, how can you compete with TikTok? Oh, that's the wrong one. In our final story, and go ahead and RSVP me, hell the F no. A terrifying attraction lets tourists sleep while suspended over a 320-foot cliff. I don't know who wants to do this. If you want to do this, come explain yourself to the head of the or to all of the congregation, because I have questions. I hope they don't fall off. An acrophobia-inducing attraction in China is taking relaxation to a whole new height by allowing lazy daredevils to lounge in a bed situated or on the edge of a 300-foot cliff as seen in a viral video. Yeah, no. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, all the hell no. Located in Mashan National Forest Park in Chengdu, the cliff bed experience was launched to somewhat paradoxically relax and forget about the world. Yeah, I'm gonna just think about dying. That's why I'm not gonna be able to relax and be like, don't move, don't breathe. No one touch me. No one touch me. Get me out of here. In accordance, the veranda-like platform, which is debuted as part of the Scenic Spots Outdoor Adventure Packet, features wooden slats, a small double air mattress, a duvet, and a pillow. Yeah, no. In viral footage, a shockingly serene woman can be seen stretching her arms as the camera pans to the panoramic alpine surroundings in the background. There's even space on this bedrock for her cup and shoes beside the mattress. Yeah, again, no. All the hell no, people. Every single bit of the hell no, but it only costs $13. Despite having bed in the title, the high altitude accommodation is not really meant for sleeping, but rather for people to chill and take selfies. The cliff bed is doing its job well. It's not as terrifying as I expected. One adrenaline craving couch potato said it took about half an hour to enjoy, mostly for, photos and the novelty. Naturally, chilling on a cliff may seem dangerous, but there's plenty of safeguards to prevent people from going over the edge, including a safety harness clipped onto a rock that guests must don before bedding down. No lazy people free soloing here. Now, participants must also be between 14 and 60, while anyone between 14 and 18 must be accompanied by an adult. The attraction is also off limits for those who weigh more than 220 pounds. Damn it. I never knew there was going to be a downside to losing weight. Damn it. I was there and almost done eligible. Now I'm totally eligible, but just not electable. I'm just kidding. Prior to being ferried up the up to the cliff bed via a cable car, guests must fill out a form that asks them about aforementioned details as well as any pre-existing health conditions. Best of all, guests pay only $13 to enjoy the attraction and receive a free cup of coffee upon arrival, although we suspect they won't need it to stay awake. It appears that the altitude has not dissuaded thrill seekers. Since the opening on April 25th, the cliff bed has welcomed nearly 400 visitors. Um, well, you 400 have fun. I'm out. No thank you, no mas, no gracias, no bueno. I'm out. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I am going to be heading over to the Karen Reed trial. Running a little long today, so I will be leaving here shortly. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness, well, it doesn't equal doormat. And if you don't say no loud enough, you'll end up sleeping on a cliff. Bye, you guys.